Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Saturday evening, September 20, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak month of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather's been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we need to take a look at some climatology. So we want the update here, and this map right here is showing Atlantic, hurricane and tropical storm activity based on data from 1944 to 2020. And considering that we're at September 20, we should be somewhere right in here, starting to fall off of the mountain in terms of tropical storm and hurricane activity as we head into the last 10 days of September and head into early October. Clearly activity should start dwindling, even although we haven't been seeing much happening at all. They predicting an above normal hurricane season, but we saw what took place. Definitely, not really that active. No complaint here. We don't want any more barrel like systems at all. We can't take the power outages, can't take the inflation. Also, another map that we're going to be looking at is the tropical and subtropical cyclone points of origin and tracks. All of these yellow dots represent where we've seen storms forming from the time period from 1851 to 2023 during September 21 to September 30. So we see that we still have a lot of activity that have formed in the main development region of the coast of Africa, in the eastern Caribbean, some of them to the south of Jamaica, a lot of them in the western Caribbean and the southwestern Gulf, a lot of them right here in the southwestern Atlantic, and a lot of them right here across the waters to the south of Mexico. And we see the path that they've taken, not really much in and around the Jamaica area at all. We have at least one passing to our north, another one passing just to our south in an east-northeasterly fashion, and another one coming in like this from the east-southeast and pushing towards that direction. So not really much formed and actually made their way in around Jamaica, but it is definitely possible. We're still in hurricane season. So let's see what takes place during the last 10 days of September. And we also have the typical tracks on origins map right here showing September, basically the similar paths that we just saw. A lot of these systems pushing just to the north of the eastern Caribbean, curving out to sea to the east of the west. A lot of them coming into the western Caribbean or the Gulf. We'll see what happens regarding the rest of the season. And we definitely have to pay close attention because we're still monitoring the lack of El Nino right in here. We know that El Nino would have to do with very warm sea surface temperatures across the eastern to the central Atlantic, and that would result in a more rising air, more thunderstorms, more hurricanes down in here, thus causing more upper level wind shear across the Caribbean and the Atlantic, tearing those tops of those thunderstorms out. But we don't have warm water down here at all, so we're still in the neutral like pattern, if not a cool neutral, almost La Nina. Last I heard, the NOAA stating that La Nina could develop, if not the time frame from October to December, then more than likely early 2026. I know that La Nina is basically when we have cooler than average sea surface temperatures across this region, basically little to no systems forming, so more rising air across the Atlantic in general, more thunderstorms, more tropical waves becoming tropical storms if not hurricanes. And we can even have that kind of conditions if we have neutral like patterns, and we have a neutral like pattern right now. We've had a neutral like pattern when we had beryl, so things are ripe for conditions, especially considering that we have the very warm sea surface temperature, all of these yellows into the golds, into the oranges across the entire Atlantic. But the thing is, we have a lot of dry stable here. We've been talking about this pushing down. This was why this season was so boring. But we've heard from the experts. They're stating that as we wrap up the last 10 days of September and head into early October, things could get active. We'll see it actually plays out. They're even stating that we could get in on a Central American gyre, something spinning down in here near Jamaica or in the Gulf that could possibly develop later on. We'll see it actually plays out. Let's see if we get some systems to use up all of that warm water. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that just came out at 7:24 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:24 p.m. Jamaica time. We can still see that we have Tropical Storm Gabrielle now just to the north of the Lesser Antilles, and we still have that cold yellow across the main development region that has a low chance of development as it pushes towards west northwest, just to the north of the Eastern Caribbean as well. Clearly all of these systems are pushing to the west northwest, if not the northwest. Nothing really coming into the Caribbean. No complaints here, but we wish we get, some kind of tropical wave, maybe a tropical depression. We just want rainfall, not necessarily a tropical storm or a hurricane to bring us, power outages or any kind of crazy damage. And if we take a look at the infrared, we can see the cloud showers and thunderstorms associated with Tropical Storm Gabrielle right in here. And we can see the clouds associated with that cold yellow right here, just to the southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. And as the Hurricane Center stated, it should be passing just to the north of the Eastern Caribbean. Regarding the latest here from the Hurricane Center about this cold yellow, let us zoom in and read. So they have stated here that a tropical wave over the eastern Atlantic is producing disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity well west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. Although development is unlikely during the next couple of days, environmental conditions should gradually become more favorable for slow development of this disturbance by the middle to latter part of next week, while it moves west-northwestward to northwestward across the central Atlantic. And we see that they've given the area a 0% chance of cyclone formation within the next 2 days and a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 7 days. And we're still watching what the Euro and the GFS Supercomputer models are showing regarding this entity by 12Z on Thursday, September 25. This is where the Euro has it, right in here, just to the northeast of the Lesser Antilles. The GFS, on the other hand, has it a bit more just to the west of where the Euro has it, and the GFS has it a bit stronger for sure, because if we notice, the Euro doesn't really have crazy isobars or even a red L. We just see some moisture. Is it even this, or could it even be that moisture between Hispaniola and Puerto Rico? Either way, it's not really defined as to where exactly it's going to be located, but somewhere here, maybe to the northeast of the Caribbean or to the north of the northern Caribbean right here. And the GFS definitely showing where it should be by that time. Even a stronger system, 1006 millibars, maybe a tropical depression, if not a tropical storm by that time. I would definitely see that clear red L that represents that center of circulation, that low pressure. We'll see it actually plays out. Let us see if we actually get the next name on the list after Gabrielle, which is Humberto. Regarding Gabrielle, we see that we still have a lot of clouds associated with the system. Look at the reds into the blacks, into the grays, into the purples. Some deep convection. It is still getting sheared a bit as it spins around that center of circulation right in here. We see that upper level wind shear blowing those cloud tops up towards the northeast as we speak, which is why it's struggling to become a formidable hurricane at this time. But the Hurricane Center is still in agreement that it should become a hurricane, but not necessarily a formidable one. We don't see any M's that represents major hurricane of category 3 to 5, just hurricane. So anywhere from category 1 to category 2 right in here. So by tomorrow it should be a category 1 hurricane, still expected to pass just to the east of Bermuda. As of right now, it is packing 65 mile per hour winds. We know that tropical storms usually pack anywhere from 39 to 73 mile per hour winds. So it's still a medium range tropical storm. It is moving towards the northwest right now at 10 miles per hour. And then we see that by around Monday into Tuesday, it should be making that northeastward to an east-northeastward turn and pushing towards the Azores Islands. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, The tropical wave that has been affecting us for the past couple of days is moving so slowly. It is right here to the west of us, and we see that there's a trough right here to the north of it. There's another trough right here to the north of the Dominican Republic. You can see the symbol associated with Tropical Storm Gabrielle right here. Another tropical wave right here just to the northeast of South America, and that other tropical wave that the Hurricane Center is watching for a low chance of development. Clearly, all of these are either pushing from east-west or southeast to west-northwest, all courtesy of this ridge of high pressure to the north. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out the clouds associated with that trough extending all the way from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the Bahamas, Cuba. We can also see the clouds associated with that tropical wave just to the west of Jamaica right in here. We can see the clouds associated with that other tropical wave to the northeast of South America here, and the other tropical wave right here to the southwest or the west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands down in here. Not really much of anything taking place. Either way, we'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Saturday, September 20, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast of parts of some eastern, central, and western parishes, and especially northern parishes during Saturday afternoon. And we know that eastern parishes, we are talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, and St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. While northern parishes that would have been receiving the brunt, we're talking about those parishes on top, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, and Portland. And what ended up happening? At around 1:31 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted not only here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, but it was also posted on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see that at around 1:31 p.m. we saw some clouds bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated thunder showers, a section of some eastern, central, and western parishes, more so inland areas of some eastern, central, and western parishes. So we're talking about northern St. Thomas, northern St. Andrew, northern St. Catherine, northern Clarendon, northern Manchester, northern St. Elizabeth, section of Westmoreland, Hanover, section of southern St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary. If it wasn't overcast skies, it was some amount of isolated thunder shower activity, and we saw the sparkling yellow dots in there that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. Then at around 3:05 p.m. the infrared satellite imagery was posted once again, highlighting the blues into the greens into the yellows, oranges, and reds, as well as the blacks and the grays that represents that cumulonimbus cloud activity, not to mention the sparkling white dots in there that we know represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes, that lashed sections of Westmoreland, Hanover, section of St. James, section of St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, Trelawney, St. Anne, some of the activity across section of northern St. Catherine, section of St. Mary, if not overcast skies, and we also had some isolated thunder shower across section of St. Andrew as well. And if we take a look back at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before we lost the sunlight, we can see the cloud cover across especially central and western parishes. Just some isolated clouds here and there inland across St. Thomas, northern St. Andrew, eastern St. Andrew as well. And then as you can see, by the time we're losing the sunlight, most of the clouds were beginning to clear out. The infrared right here confirming the thunderstorms, especially across the central and western parishes. And we even see some leftover clouds across the northwest. We're going to be looking at what's taking place right now shortly, but it's looking like it might still be raining into portions of the northwest, maybe St. James, Hanover. We'll see. We're going to be looking later, but we're looking here at the Jamaican Doppler radar. It glitched out, so nothing to show here, but we saw that on the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, the Little London camera here, showing some moderate to heavy rainfall. As a matter of fact, this looks like heavy rainfall at around 12:28 p.m. as you can see here. Windshield wipers definitely on, some decent blinding kind of rainfall pushing in from the, I guess that's the north, because this map is this camera is facing the east. So I guess the rainfall is coming in from the north. I guess some nice rainfall for sure. We can see one individual over here sheltering, another one right there. Yeah, man, definitely some decent rainfall. Look at the trees and barely make out anything in Westmoreland this afternoon, and I'm sure they're grateful for the cool down for sure. Regarding what took place according to the accumulated precipitation forecast map, accumulated precipitation map here from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website, this map kind of paints a picture of how we might have had that rainfall today across sections of some western parishes, some central parishes, northern parishes for sure. We know that it is not 100% accurate, but it does paint quite the picture of how we might have had that rainfall today. And we definitely have some comments from some of our followers about what the weather was like in their area today. We have Nettie Lee stating Clarendon very overcast, light rain, thunder and lightning. We also have Kiki stating in St. Anne it's raining now. That was posted 4 hours ago. We have Randall Green stating good evening weather Jamaica. We're getting some rain and thunderstorm in Brownstown, St. Anne now. Thanks for confirming. We have Marlon showing some rainfall, lightning and thunder emojis in Lewis, St. Anne. We have Kemi GTV stating rain beat up St. Anne's Bay right now. Thanks for confirming. Even on our Facebook page, we have the comments coming in. We have Winky Coombs stating rain is now falling in Mandeville, Manchester. No lightning nor flash floods at this time. We have Naiki Ben stating overcast sky in Maypen, Clarendon, no rain. Carmen Johnson raining in my parish, Manchester, Christiana. Marcia stating Kingston overcast with thunder. Otto stating clear, sunny and warm all day in Saskatoon. I wonder where that is. We have Joan Francis stating no rain is in porous Manchester yet. We also have Marcia stating raining like wow in Mandeville. Brian Stevens is stating raining in Constant Spring. Livingston stating light to moderate showers in Mobe. Naiki Ben stating rain in Maypen, Clarendon. Ted stating sun hot in Portmore. Nadine stating raining in Rock Hill. And even on our Instagram page, we have some comments coming in. We have Purpose _lady Libra sitting hot, not a rain in Yellow St. Thomas now. We have Kadia Lee sitting hope rain falls in Portmore. Let's see. We have Richard Hunter JA stating overcast with thunder, St. James Trilla on the border. We have Miss _irreplaceable sitting sunny in Spanish Town with a lot of thunder. We have one Ryan _ sitting overcast with thunder so far in Hanover. Sheila Coral one Banshee sitting St. Andrew hot and cloudy, no rain. We have Sheila confirming once again St. Andrew 9 miles Bull Bay, that is. We have the Ramba stating southern parishes aren't getting any today. Well, some southern parishes. We have Marshmallow 433 stating Ochi get little bit. We have Dando stating storm blow Christiana. We have Dante stating been watching that cloud on the roof at the airport in Mobe since 12 p.m. Looks like it covered the entire island now. Not necessarily. It's just mainly the central and western ends of the island. We have Nicola stating light drizzle Old Harbor, St. Catherine. Sasha stating Portmore full of sun. We also have Cassie stating lovely rain, blessings from Jesus. I wonder what parish that is. We have Reggae.Nick stating rain, St. Andrew West Rural. Thanks for confirming the St. Andrew rainfall. And even on our third page, we had _SJ_1222 stating rain in Manchester. Even had a lot of comments coming in here on our TikTok page. We had rain_star stating it's currently raining in some parts of St. Elizabeth. Tina B stating Kingston is currently overcast right now, 1:54 p.m. Should we be getting showers later? Let's see. We have Florence James stating St. Catherine is overcast. One Spang Stoic stating rain beat up St. Anne's Bay. Thanks for confirming. We have Solak Henry stating Manchester no rain. Anna J stating Portland is overcast. Miss Walter stating Portmore from Jamaica. We have Erica Brown stating Kingston no rain. We have the amazing chef stating Lord please send it come. Alright, so that indeed confirms all of the comments from some of our followers for today. Let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, the very latest Jamaican Doppler radar imagery, the very latest Cuban Doppler radar imagery, the very latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar imagery, and the very latest Cayman radar imagery. We want to see exactly what's taking place right now. Alright, so the latest infrared here from the Weather Nerds website is showing 0055 UTC, which is actually 7:55 p.m. So this just came out 11 minutes ago, considering that it is 6:08 p.m. right now. As you can see, we actually have some leftover clouds from today's rainfall across the northwest, so section of Hanover into St. James, and we even see some sparkling white dust across section of St. James. That could indicate that they're getting some isolated thundershower activity. We're also seeing some isolated thundershower to the south of southwestern Jamaica as well as to the west of there. Unfortunately, we don't have the Jamaican Doppler radar updated to see, neither do we have the Cuban Doppler radar updated to see, because it goes all the way up until 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's actually 9 a.m. Jamaica time this morning, so it glitched out at 9 a.m. The Guantanamo Bay U.S. Navy radar, on the other hand, not really showing much of anything across northeastern Jamaica, but we do see some rain bands right here across section of southeastern Cuba, and some isolated light to moderate rainfall across the western peninsula of Haiti right in here. And if we take a look at the Cayman radar, we can see where we have some amount of rainfall across section of central Cuba. We also see some rainfall right here across sections of western Jamaica and the waters to the west of us. We see the light rainfall into moderate rainfall across sections of Hanover into St. James right in here, definitely coinciding with what we're seeing on the infrared right in here. So all of these clouds definitely have some rainfall. Thank God for the Cayman radar, definitely confirming that rainfall that we're seeing across section of St. James into Hanover. Just some light rainfall, as you can see there, but clearly we had even more rainfall across section of St. James. As you can see, the greens coming in. Regarding what's taking place right now, the live camera right here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing a tractor trailer crossing the famous flat bridge. As you can see here, this is live, 8:08 p.m. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place right now around there. Definitely calm conditions, as you can see here. People in their vehicles going about their business. And if we actually look earlier today, you can see that it actually rained around there. It is northern St. Catherine, so it makes sense that they got some wet weather for sure. They always get, well, most of the times they get wet weather down there for sure. It is between two hills, so definitely rainfall would have been expected. So some decent rainfall. This was at around what, 5:22 p.m. As you can see here, people are in their vehicles going about their business. The river Cobra definitely chilling. Nothing in the way to cause the river to, go into speed. And if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. So just subscribe today to this channel so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we're at 27 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Sunday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18:00 on Sunday, which is actually 1 p.m. on Sunday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in some grays that represents average temperatures. I know the average temperature for the month of September across Jamaica is around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's converted to degrees Celsius. We know that is around anywhere from 32.2 degrees Celsius, well, 32.2 degrees Celsius. So that should be the temperature forecast for Jamaica on Sunday. And we have at least one maintenance outage advisory here from my GPS online Twitter page that we have to highlight. And we know that we have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that a power outage is coming their way on Sunday, September 21, 2025. We're referring to Gray's Inn, Agualta Vale, Rosend, Devon Pen, Junction Main Road, Fort George, all in the parish of St. Mary, from 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. So if tomorrow is a bit too hot for you, try your best to seek shade when you're outside. Eat fresh, try eating cold foods such as salads and fruits. Rest, make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you're feeling tired. Soak, take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And I cannot stress enough the importance of staying hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water even if you're not thirsty, and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we see that the moisture has really taken over the Caribbean. A lot of blues in there, a lot more clouds, a lot more heavy rainfall. With most of the dry air is extending all the way from the waters to the northwest of Africa, all the way down into portion of the main development region. You know that the dry air is responsible for keeping the atmosphere stable, making it harder for it to rain, making it harder for us to get clouds. And what we want more of is the moist air and the blues. Wherever we have the moist air, that's where we have more gray clouds. And that's what we want. We want more clouds, that we get more rainfall to keep water in our pipes and to cool down these temperatures. regarding the Saharan dust forecast for the next 3 days. So we're heading into September 21, September 22, and September 23. And as you can see right here, Jamaica should be in the clear for the next 3 days, even although we have some slight Saharan dust pushing through the Caribbean that should be here by the end of the next 3 days. So by September 23, some slight Saharan dust. Most people won't even notice it in the sky. We know that the Saharan dust is responsible for causing hazy skies, not to mention triggering some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons, asthma, sinusitis, you name it. So we're indeed grateful that for the most part, the Saharan dust isn't really that vigorous, even though we see some decent plumes pushing through the main development region. But then likely by the time it gets to us, it has dwindled down. We don't want the oranges into the pinks at all. That's that vigorous plume. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, we see that the light shades of blues are still dominating majority of the Caribbean, anywhere from 0 to 0.5 meter wave height up to at least 1 meter wave height. And that's because of the east-southeasterly flow of winds averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 knots at most, especially coming in from the southeast across Jamaica. Look at the wave forecast for Jamaica for tomorrow. For the fisher folk, on the Portland side, up to 0.5 meter wave height expected. On the St. Thomas side, 0.3 meter wave height. On the St. Anne side, 0.12 meter wave height. Southern Clarendon, or to the south of Clarendon, 0.3 meter wave height expected. To the north of Hanover, 0.12 meter wave height. To the south of Westmoreland, 0.3 meter wave height. And that's because of the southeasterly winds that are expected. And what does this map tell you? What does this map tell you? We're having winds coming in from the southeast tomorrow. So if we actually get some moisture to come off of the sea, it could push into sections of some southern parishes. And we know southern parishes, we're talking about those parishes like Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. While you notice the winds that are expected, yes, averaging up to 9 knots, or not really strong winds, 7 knots right here to the south of St. Thomas, up to 8 knots to the south of Westmoreland. And this is where we have the least amount of wind. Wherever we see the blues, just like what we see here on the key on the bottom right, that's where we have the weakest wind. So that is where some of these low-level clouds could become mid-level rain clouds, if not upper-level cumulonimbus clouds, when we have that daytime heating during the afternoon. And the upper-level wind shear, look at that. We have upper-level high pressure across the Caribbean, so conditions are very favorable for something to form, if we actually get something to form down there. But clearly upper-level wind shear coming in from the, looks like southeast tomorrow. So if anything, more of those thunderstorms, just like what we had today. If we actually get more thunderstorms to formulate across the, especially north coast tomorrow, those cloud tops are going to be sheared off towards the northwest, definitely favoring more of those afternoon thunderstorms to sections of some northern parishes for sure. And regarding the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 4 a.m. Jamaica time. And as you can see here, we're actually seeing that for 4 a.m. some blues represent rainfall just to the south of us. So we could get in on some early morning rainfall across some southern parishes for sure. Maybe St. Thomas, maybe section of southern Manchester, southern St. Elizabeth into Westmoreland. GFS a bit different from the Euro. We'll see it plays out. Then by afternoon, look at this. We actually see that by 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is actually 1 p.m. Jamaica time, we see the rainfall. Look at this. The Euro even more robust than the GFS. GFS making more sense to me. We see blues represent rainfall across the eastern end, across the northern and western parishes as well. So maybe St. Thomas, Portland, section of St. Mary, section of St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth into Manchester. The Euro showing the rainfall in those spots as well. But we see some crazy rainfall in the blues, greens, yellows, oranges across section of St. Mary into Portland. Very interesting. The GFS shows rainfall in the dark blues just to the north of where the Euro has it. We'll see it actually plays out. Very interesting day tomorrow. Any day that we don't have the usual east to west flow that would favor more of that rainfall across Hanover and Westmoreland is always a good day. We'll see it actually plays out. It looks like southern Jamaica for the morning, and then eastern, northern, and western parishes during the afternoon. And even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps here from the Euro and the GFS are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. The Euro going all the way up to maybe 0.58 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS going all the way up to maybe 0.65 of an inch of rainfall. And we know it could be more than that, it could be less than that, so take these rainfall totals with a grain of salt. And Whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of September. And in Manchester, whose bar graph is being shown right here, for the month of September, they usually receive around 124 millimeters of rainfall in Manchester. That's about 4.9 inches of rainfall. While in Trelawney, they usually receive around 179 millimeters of rainfall for the month of September. That's around 7 inches of rainfall. And if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of September or for the entire year, you can visit nomadseason.com, and that website will show you that information. And we're going to be moving on now. So we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us according to the latest Euro and GFS supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours. That stands for the next 7 days. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens that represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. Alright, so we just looked at Sunday's forecast, and we're going to be looking at Monday. Monday morning on the Euro, we know that 12 is 7 a.m. Monday morning, don't really see much of anything across Jamaica. No greens, no rainfall. But look at Monday afternoon. We see rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes. Do we have agreement on the GFS? Let us see if we have the agreement. So, Monday morning GFS. Hold on, this is still showing Euro. So let me find the GFS. Let me load it up. Okay, there we go. So GFS is right here. So for Monday morning, not really much of anything across Jamaica either. Monday afternoon, look at that. Just like the Euro, we're seeing rainfall across eastern. It looks like eastern, northern, and western parishes. We'll see. What do we see on Tuesday morning? Tuesday morning, not really much of anything across Jamaica. Tuesday afternoon, eastern, central, western parishes, again getting in on that rainfall. The GFS for Tuesday morning, not really much of anything either. Tuesday afternoon, however, we see rainfall across sections of some central and western parishes. What do we see on Wednesday morning? Wednesday morning, not really much of anything across Jamaica. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across some eastern, central, western parishes. What does the GFS show? Wednesday morning, maybe some rainfall to the north of us. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across sections of some central western parishes. And as you can see, this is where the code yellow should be located across the northeastern Caribbean, or the waters to the north of Puerto Rico. Both the Euro and the GFS modes are in agreement with that. What do we see for Thursday morning? Not really much of anything across Jamaica. Thursday afternoon looks like some isolated showers across sections of some eastern, central, western parishes. What does the GFS show? Thursday morning, maybe some rainfall across the waters to our northeast. Thursday afternoon, rainfall across sections of some eastern, central, western parishes. What do we see on Friday morning? On Friday morning, we actually see some rainfall across the eastern end of the island on the Euro. And then on Friday afternoon, look at that. Greens represent rainfall across eastern, central, western parishes. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Saturday, September 27. And look at this. Very interesting. It could be Humberto developing. And we also see a lot of moisture to the south of Hispaniola. Some moisture across southern waters of Jamaica and to the northeast of us. What does the GFS show? Friday morning, rainfall to our southwest, rainfall to our north. Friday afternoon, rainfall across, looks like mainly central and western parishes. Then, just like the Euro, we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Saturday, September 27. And look at where the Euro has Humberto. The GFS has future Humberto right here to the northeast of the eastern Caribbean. GFS has it even stronger right here to the east of the mid-Atlantic US. We'll see it actually plays out. Whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. And if we take a look at the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps for the next 7 days, so we're going up to the next 168 hours. So both maps right here from the Euro and the GFS should be showing all the rainfall that's expected from now all the way up until Saturday, September 27. And as you can see here, the Euro definitely showing rainfall in the same spots, and we're talking about some crazy rainfall in the dark reds into the purples, and the pinks represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall for portion of northern South America into Central America. As you can see here, we also see a lot of that moisture passing to the northeast of the eastern Caribbean associated with that code yellow. And we clearly see that it's not only the GFS that's showing this, but even the Euro. Very interesting. So those areas could get on some isolated flash flooding across northern South America into Central America, while it's the fishes that are going to be affected by, if not the ships out at sea, by the rainfall from that code yellow, as well as Gabriel that is still sitting somewhere out here as we speak. All the other areas across the Greater Antilles into the Lesser Antilles that are shaded into the yellows, oranges, reds, the dark reds, they should be getting in at least 2 inches or less over the next 7 days. And if we zoom in on Jamaica's rainfall totals for the next 7 days, just like the big maps that we just showed, both maps right here from the year and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Saturday, September 27. And we still see eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica shaded in the greens into the yellows. That represents all the way up to a total of that looks like 57 millimeters of rainfall in the year. The GFS going up to at least 62 millimeters of rainfall. We'll see it actually plays out, and whatever happens, I will definitely be here to keep you posted with what occurs. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Regarding what's happening across the rest of the Caribbean, not really much taking place, just some hit or miss isolated showers pushing through the eastern Caribbean. Some usual thunderstorm across sections of Hispaniola, rainfall across the western Caribbean associated with that tropical wave. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar imagery, let us see what's taking place down here. So near Puerto Rico, we see some isolated showers just to the west of the British Virgin Islands, some rainfall to the west of Guadeloupe, to the east of Guadeloupe, to the east of Dominica, some light to moderate rainfall at that. But regarding what took place earlier today, we saw that central to northwestern Puerto Rico got in on some moderate to heavy rainfall, and not really much else took place. Regarding what's taking place on the Barbados radar right now, we actually see some isolated hit or miss, light to moderate, even to some slightly heavy rainfall, especially pushing into the Grenadines as we speak. Some rainfall actually fell across section of Grenada. We see some rainfall pushing towards St. Lucia, some rainfall pushing towards Barbados as well. And scrolling down, we can even see some rainfall to the east of Trinidad and Tobago. Could they get in on some amount of rainfall later on? We'll see. The wider view of Doppler radar images is showing some rainfall across section of Cuba, the northern Bahamas, southern Florida. We see some rainfall also on the Cayman radar to the west of us. Some rainfall as well across section of Colombia and northern Venezuela. And regarding the rainfall totals that are expected within the next 24 hours, both maps right here from the year and the GFS are in agreement that it should be raining across Florida within the next 24 hours, section of the northern Bahamas, so too Cuba, the Cayman Islands, Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, so too section of Puerto Rico, the Leeward Islands. We also see rainfall expected for Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, sections of Suriname and French Guiana. Finally, they're getting some rainfall. We also see some rainfall across central and western Venezuela, so to Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, into the Yucatan. And we clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Regarding what's taking place across the eastern Pacific, so that code yellow that we had to the west of Mexico has been dropped by the Hurricane Center, but we're still watching that area to the south of Mexico that has a high 90% chance of development within the next 7 days. We can see all of the cloud showers and thunderstorms associated with it just to the south of Mexico as we speak, still trying to get its act together to become the next name on the list, which is Nardo. And regarding what's taking place here on the western Pacific side of things, we have 2 typhoons. We know that on this side of the world they call them typhoons, we call hurricanes typhoons. We see a formidable eye on this one to the southeast of Japan, and we see the eye clearing out definitely for this one to the east of the Philippines. And we spoke about the fact that these systems can definitely overachieve across the western Pacific. Sometimes the Joint Typhoon Warning Center shows that, oh, it's not going to be strengthening all that, and then it does some crazy strengthening. I mean, look at this now. That system to the east or to the southeast of Japan now packs 120 knot winds, and we know that systems that usually pack anywhere from 113 to 136 knot winds are classified as category 4 hurricanes. So we know that category 4 to 5 hurricanes on this side of the world, they're referred to as super typhoons. So it's a super typhoon right now, but clearly it's going to be maintaining that path across the sea, not going to be affecting Japan or any land areas at all as it pushes towards the northwest, then to the north, then to the northeast, then to the north. As you can see here, not really moving that much. But regarding the other system that could definitely affect land now, first of all, we just looked at what's that system's name, that was Neoguri. Now we have other system, which is Typhoon Ragasa. Typhoon Ragasa is packing 115 knot winds, so it's a bit less in intensity, but it is still a category 4 super typhoon, so anywhere from 113 to 136 as we mentioned. Still a super typhoon, expected to push out towards the west northwest, passing just to the north of the Philippines, to the south of Taiwan, and looking like it's gonna be brushing the southern coast of China. Definitely bring some decent rainfall to the same spots that were affected by that tropical storm a couple of days ago. Very interesting. If you have friends or relatives who live or work in China, please let them know what's coming their way, as boy, you know that area can definitely flood. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.